The first rule in grip sport is you tell everyone about grip sport.
Crushing, pinch grip, thick bar, wrists.
If the best guy in the world can't lift 100 pounds on it, I don't give a shit about it.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of The Grip Show. I'm your host, Zach Mullins, as always. And today I have Alex Guiha and Chaz Strange. Now, I have Alex here because he's the mastermind behind this recent competition that took place called the Feat Invitational. And Alex, did you want to kind of touch on, I guess, the origin of how you kind of created this competition, or what made you pick this specific event lineup?
Right. So, in a sense, the events sort of built themselves because I had the Match Monster gripper. So at first I wanted to do a contest. I wanted to try to do one like every September. So there was going to be a contest. And then event one was going to be the grippers because I got the Match Monster gripper. So we had to have that as like an official event. So we were doing a parallel set, start at Match Monster 1 and go up. We had some lower RGC grippers because it's not like a given that everyone can close Match Monster 1. So people could set a score with the lower RGC. Mm-hmm. So like the grippers pick themselves. And then I'm me. So there's going to be bending, like guaranteed as an event. You guys are lucky I didn't just like host a bending contest instead. But so anyways, reverse bending was like the best one I could get away with, like in a formal grip contest. Mm-hmm. And it was great. It actually worked awesome. When we get to it, I'll explain how we did it because more you guys should be having reverse bending in the grip contests. And then
as reverse bending is like the only style I can halfway do. I'm not gonna fight you on that one.
Right. No, yeah. And all right. And then so the Euro, that was our third event. So I got the Euro set a few months ago and I loved it. And I was like, that's definitely gonna be the pinch event. Like I didn't want to have the Saxon bars or anything when I had a Euro set up. We didn't even end up using mine. We ended up using Jed's. But so that event like sort of like picked itself also. And then the last event was the Inch Blob combo lift, where it's an inch dumbbell in one hand and a blob in the other. And so I'd like toyed with like the scoring system. So I was like, when I was thinking of events, I'm like, that has to be an event that's like so sick. And I'm like, how do you judge it? So like I came up with the scoring system and it really worked, where it's like 1 point per pound of the inch dumbbell and 3 points per pound of the blob weight. And like when you reverse engineer it and look at what like the top lists are, you're like, oh yeah, that one's probably like better than that one. Like one's better than two, better than three. So like it's a good scoring system. Like we have to do that. So I get to like 4 events, like without me like racking my brain for an event. And then at that point, then like sort of like part of the feat meet is because I go by Feats of Alex on Instagram. Mm-hmm. So like it's like says like people can ID whose contest it is. But also we didn't have a loading pin. So I'll be damned if on the last event I was gonna like pick like a little implement with a loading pin to like ruin like to throw it all off. So trying to think of like a cool event, no loading pin, and also like Euro can take really long time, because we had 2 size options. Thankfully everybody did the same size, so it didn't take forever. Yeah. But I wanted an event that probably move quicker. So we did like a hub, a real nice hub, like a Marcy 45, where you add weights so the weights go up. So, like 5-pound jumps, people are getting like 60, 65, 70 pounds. That moved pretty fast. That was like a perfect event to slot in. And plus we could do that one outside, like after 3 events in the garage. And then like, I think the guys wanted to go out. Like, I think it worked well. Like, so it was perfect. So that's how we got to like the 5 events without really having to like agonize about it. It's sort of like the lineup sort of built itself, almost to a point that I wonder like next year, I'm like, what do I take out? Like everyone's going to do the same contest again.
Yeah. But I mean, you could always kind of maybe, tweak a couple things or change the order or something. I mean, when you kind of go the route with doing different feats of strength and not just specific handles, you kind of can open up a lot of options. I think that if you're just going by your basic crossbar type lifts,
keep the spirit.
I think it's a cool idea. I'm bummed I missed it. I'd like to make the next one for sure. But yeah, I thought it was a cool idea. Now, Chaz, with you attending the competition as a competitor, and like I said, eventually winning it, what were you kind of thinking? Because you've been around, I mean, the grip board, grip sport for a long time. So you've seen the older waves and generations of competitions. You've seen, the newest ones. You've kind of been around for a lot of it.
Mhm.
Did you feel like this was kind of maybe a throwback to some of those more old school competitions? And is that kind of what got you into it a little bit? Or what
The
were you thinking?
so yeah, it was definitely like a nice throwback to the older stuff, but there's 5 events in this contest, and I love every single event. Like, and I'm good at 4 of them. I was like, this is awesome. Like, I'm all in on it. Like, so to bring back the Euro, I mean, they do the Euro down in South Carolina or whatever, North Carolina still, but reverse bending in with the grip contest was a really cool thing to see, where it's like not just in a medley somewhere, it's like an event. So that was cool to see. And then an actual hub and a 45-pound plate, like, and then obviously all of it it was just perfect. I just loved the events, and I thought it was perfect, obviously.
And
Yeah.
so one thing to add, like, it happened very organically. It wasn't like I'm gonna like create an old school contest and then I like forced it to like happen. The events like happen naturally. And it so happens that those events make like an old school like contest, but it happened very organically, so I think it was all the better for it.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like just looking at a lot of the competitions and upcoming things, there's a lot of stuff on the calendar coming up. Man, after doing that competition, I would have a harder time getting excited for these other comps, because I feel like that was the one. That's an opinion, that's personal preference, but
Yeah.
like Chaz said, I would have loved to do some of those events. I'm not the best at grippers, but the hub for weight, not a bad reverse bender, Euro, and then the inch and blob, I would absolutely love. So man, that would have been about a 4 out of 5 for me too, that I would have been really eager to get at. And I'm pretty sure it's a good thing you added the hub in there, because I don't know if Jed Johnson would have made the trip if there wasn't a hub in there, because he loves hub lifting so much.
It's so funny. I didn't really know that him and Hub were like a thing, like until like we got there, until we were going.
Yeah, for anybody that didn't catch it, there's sarcasm there. Jed Johnson is not a fan of the hub lift.
No, he looks like a 7-year-old kid at the dinner table, and his parents are making him eat Brussels sprouts or something. This is like, it's the second time I got to see him lift an actual hub in contest. Maryland's Strongest Hands had it in the medley, and he did it. And I remember like freaking out when he lifted one, like, just being funny. And then he had him, do it to this one. So pretty cool to finally see that.
Say, man, the only thing Jed likes more than the hub is that moon top. You got to keep him away from that moon top. Other than that, yeah, no, I'm just messing around. But yeah, so I think you probably listed the events in order that we just kind of discussed, right? That was the same order they were contested.
Yeah, that was the order, and I can go over who the guys were quick. And then we can kind of take the event. So I'll just do it by like how they finished placing, so it's easiest to remember. So Chaz was here, great feetist, great meatist, So no, it was awesome. Thanks for making the trip up, and it was super helpful. Chaz was helping me a lot throughout the whole thing, and then and Jed got second. I was super pumped. Jed came. He came he was like last minute confirmation, so I wasn't even able to like use him to like lure other people. I'm like, Jed's coming. Like, you guys gotta like make the trip. Like, he'll be on like the next flight too. So I wasn't able to do that, but no, it's still amazing that he came out. It was like a great honor that Jed came out. And then actually I got third, which that's like amazing to like share a podium with Jed and Chaz. So I'm like super pumped. And then fourth, actually, so we had 2 sets of books. Is that allowed? We had like in the here, we had like everybody who was here was like getting scores. Not everybody did the formal GSI contest with weigh-ins and stuff. So Ty McFarland, he's excellent strongman. So he got fourth with everybody here. But when we took out people who weren't doing the GSI version, him and Tim Butler tied for fourth. So that's like 5 people. Ty and Tim tied. And then Benny Aquilina, got sixth place, which is funny because he's like the strongest one of all of us.
Yeah, well, and that's one of those things though, is that when you dive into these different lineups and events and the way they go, I mean, it's not too far off of things like most people in general, and I'm just saying a general statement here, would probably say, yeah, Tim Butler's stronger than Vinny Reveille's, but Vinny beat him at Stronghold too. Like, it just depends on those events that day. So like everybody's got
That's
something.
why you have to have the contest, right?
Yeah, everybody's got something. And when you get in those rooms with guys, I think it's important for people to remember that everybody in that room probably has a skill or some type of strength that someone else can't replicate, you know? So it just depends on how things are going in that moment, what the event lineup is. So yeah, like Benny, I mean, yeah.
Well, he won the post comp feats. Like,
okay,
he clean and press like 2 3/8 inch axle with like globe ends. That, like, you know, it's brutally hard. So, you know, he just power cleaned and overhead. He was like this.
Were the other events like maybe the technique on grippers or the like hub?
He did good at grippers. He actually it was really critical. Chaz got off to a big lead in grippers because Benny closed MM2 his first time doing the Match Monster. So he did one.
That's not bad. That's pretty good.
Yeah. And then yeah, good segue to the first event. But yeah, so so I think just for Benny in general, like I think it was like super up and down. So he like did great at grippers, but he didn't do very good at reverse bending. I think he didn't do very good at hub.
Right.
And then he spent the whole inch blob thing stubbornly trying to do combo a thumbless 200-pound inch dumbbell.
Yeah. This is a little bit off topic.
Because it was by the end of the day, you know.
Yeah.
So slightly off topic. I don't want to like just keep, I don't know, going into every lift Benny did, but how are his blobs? Because his thumbless work on dumbbells is like out of this world. I mean, freakishly strong. His thick bar strength, ridiculously strong. But I've never got a chance to see him lift too many blobs. But I know, kind of hanging out with Tim, he has to have at least got his hands on some blobs before. But how did he do with that?
What did he lift? Like a half 70 or 80?
Yeah, he didn't like go after real big blobs in the combos. So I'm not sure if he's like done a lot of big blobs, but he's actually in a pinch. He did 210 on the Euro. He's like top 15 in his weight class all time now. Like,
gotcha. Yeah.
So it's not like a pinch issue. I think it might just be a
width, hand size, maybe.
But how he does the huge inches. I don't know. So we can actually Benny's so fascinating. We should just go through every lift.
Right.
But I love him.
Yeah. So with that, starting off with the grippers, you said Chaz jumped into a big lead.
Because
were you guys going like parallel set 20 millimeter?
Yeah, we're doing parallel without the block, just with the judges. We had official Mash Monster judges because Chaz was a judge and Vinny was here. Vinny competed. He just didn't do the formal weigh-ins and everything. So he was judging also. So Chaz we had like Captain Crush through 3, so people could set our GC scores. Because like guys like Ty, who are like from Strongman, haven't really done grippers, so he just closed like I don't know 1.5 or 2 or something. But anyway, so like we got to the Mash Monsters, and so Chaz got through 2, and then Benny got through 2, and I got 1 through 1, and Jed got through 1. So that's like a huge spacer already between like Chaz and Jed. After like one event, because he got Benny and me taking points from Jed, so it was a hot start for Chad. So he's like, "Oh,
I didn't think Ben was going to close the MM2. I was like, all right, maybe it'll be like me and Jed closing the MM2 or whatever." And then Benny like closed the 3, and then he went to the MM1 and he smoked it. And I was like, "Oh man!" And then he went to the MM2 and it was like a better close. I was like, "Is he going to close the 3?" And he went to the MM3. He got pretty close, but it stopped him. But then I took a shot at it. And I got pretty close, but closer than I thought I was going to get. Yeah. But we'll see. Still,
And then second event, what did you guys go to from there?
Then we went to reverse bending, which was
Okay.
so the way we set it up, it was all 7-inch drill rod. So drill rod has really tiny jumps in diameter, so really small difficulty jumps, and you can start them like very easy. I'm going to say letters. Like drill rod has like letters for some of the step fractions that aren't clean. So obviously a bigger letter is harder than a smaller letter. So we had like A, C, E, G, I. So it was good doing it that way because people who hadn't bent before were able to reverse bend a drill rod. So everybody like felt good. They're like,
Okay.
bending is fun. Like, it's not like an event that just zeroed like everybody
Yeah.
except like the guys who are reverse benders. And then also on the flip side, like as it got harder, we had like a great battle at the end. So I had like a fierce battle with I. It took me like the whole minute. So then like K, so I like bowed out at K, but then Chaz and Jed both smoked K, and then they both smoked L. So then like this is like 3 in a row that they've been going like head to head. So everybody's like super into it, watching like them like battle it out, and then Chaz got M, and Jed missed M, and so Chaz got the event win, a clean event win. He didn't get any spacers between him and Jed on that one because I failed you. I'm sorry. I'll do double overhand next time.
No, don't do double overhand. I'm not. If it's double overhand, I'm not going.
But yeah, so I think that was another one where it was like important for you to like win the contest, like getting a clean win on that event, which is there's an alternate world where if you miss M also, you guys like split the points.
Right. Yeah.
So getting the clean win was important on that.
Well, I think it's also. Keep going. Yeah.
It took a lot out of me to get that M. I was like pretty much 2 hitting them up to that, and that one I think I did like 4 or 6 hits and almost took the whole minute. And it was a close one too, but
yeah, we brought out the digital.
Tough,
we brought out the digital. Whatever this thing, the digital protractor for it. And so I was like in real time was like 5 minutes before. And so I was like still not like mentally there because I had like fought it for a whole minute. And so I'm like trying to like measure this on the digital protractor, which I almost never use. So I'm like trying to line things up. And Chaz was
like, and for anyone wondering, it was in single iron mine pads.
Yeah.
For the events. I had 1 minute time on that. Jed was like, how are you wrapping these so fast? I was like, I haven't rewrapped them once. He's like, I just kept jamming them in there, just going.
Yeah, right.
That's right. There's a theory to wrap on a smaller bar than what you're bending on and then slide them on tight. So the progression naturally allowed for that. Oh, very smart.
Yeah. As I said, Chaz has been around. He knows what's going on. But I think it's cool that you guys kind of already from the first 2 events, we can see that there was a pretty even playing field because you're talking about everybody kind of dropping off at the same point or certain people, Chaz got off to a good start with two event wins right there, but the second and third people right behind that are tying or like, you know what I mean? The competition is still like very alive going into the other events.
Yeah, no, for sure going into the especially because me and Benny sort of like probably were very close after 2 because he got tied for first, but then I think he probably got 5th or 6th in reverse bending. So then he like flipped down, and then I stayed like in the middle, and then and then it was on to the Euro, which was the most formal event. I was which it's a very historic event, and like Jed was there, Chaz is there. These guys like who know like all the history. I mean, you have to like put it on real properly. Like you can't like host the Euro and like just botch it, like
you just got plates sliding off the front of it. It's misloaded. No.
Yeah, so you got to get everything really right there. So it's the only event I was a little bit nervous about hosting, but but no, it was cool. So we used a Jed setup. And all the plates were weighed out to the 100th of a pound. So everything was really formal. It was, although like sometimes feats are a little bit less formal. We did everything super formal on the Euro, and which is good because we got some like big lifts. So they all got to be on the record books. And so we had the options was like 2-inch and 2 1/4 inch, like 54 and 58 millimeter. So pretty much everybody who has opinions on Euro width wanted to do 2 1/4 inch. So there's a couple people who are like, I'll do whatever. Like, we're like, well, if you do 2.25 inch, we don't have to run the whole event twice.
Yeah.
Because they're like fairly neutral between the two. So that was great getting to like only run one side. Then I think we could like take our time a little bit more on it. And no, so it went awesome. We started at like 120. I think everybody got that, no problems. And so we had it came into play a little bit at the very end. So everybody was allowed to pick. Well, we started with 20-pound jumps, and when it was 20-pound jumps, everybody could call out like one 10-pound jump. And then when we got to 200 pounds, we switched it to 10-pound jumps. But anybody who still had their call out could call out one 5-pound jump.
Yeah.
So like, so that makes it interesting, like when you're going to use yours or whatever. So so despite me like really liking Euro, it's one of my weaker events. So I was out like pretty early at like the 160. I just missed 170, but like they kept battling long after. And then I think we still had like 4 guys in at like 190, and no, 4 guys probably tried 210. Because I think Ty got 190, so he would have tried 200.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Benny got 210. And then you and Jed kept battling all the way to 230. That was a pretty like epic battle.
And you guys basically tied at 230 and had missed the weights above that? Is that what happened?
Yeah, we had. So I used my 5-pound jump for 225. So throughout, I trained this event for a couple months. My best pull on it was 220. So going to the comp, I was like, all right, I want to break 220. PR in the comp. That's what I would be happy with. So I hit 220. I was like, all right, I'll take 225. Hit 225, and then the next jump was 230. Jed still had his 5-pound jump in his bag, so we both hit 230. And I'm like, come on, Jed, 235. Call 235. And he's like, no, let's get this over with. I'm like, crap, this dude's gonna pull 240. Leave me in the dust. But yeah, 240. We both missed it, but so I guess that was good for me. But I can't believe I tied him. That's pretty insane. He didn't train it though, so it's kind of like, and that's part of how. That's
but at the same time, how untrained from Euro can he be? Like, I think you don't take it away from yourself. That was like a great
he pulled he's pulled 262, I think.
I was like 262, 264, maybe
264,
yeah, something like that. So yeah, he's definitely. Well, he was former world record holder in the Euro at one point. So
and, this was the event where there was a minute where I don't know if Chaz recalls it, but I think it was when it happened. I was like, oh, Chaz is like really gonna win this thing, like because he had the lead. He did good on grippers. He did good on reverse bending. He was like doing the battle in the Euro, and there was like this one like, oh, like Chaz is here. Chaz is like really gonna win today. And so he was helping me. Chaz was helping me change the weights every time. Pretty much every event, like Chaz was like, like my help, but like Chaz was like really helping out with everything. He was changing all like the Euro weights one side, I was doing the other. And then the weights, I don't know, it gets to maybe by around like 170, 190. Like I'm changing the weights. There's like no Chaz on the other side. Like, so I'm like, I go and so I'm changing both sides of the weights now. And then, so it happened once, I didn't really think about it. The next time, and I go to change the weight, there's like no Chaz changing. So I'm like, oh, and I look over, Chaz is just like pure, like focused.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not gonna, like, Chaz is here to like win this. Like,
that
was the moment when he stopped changing weights. I'm like, oh, he's pure competitor mode. He's here to win this.
Yeah. We were over 200 pounds at that point. I was like, all right, I gotta focus. And I do want to give a shout out to Jed because he's the one who taught me how to do Euro. I was at his gym one time. I was training with him. He's like, yeah, what do you want to do? I was like, never did Euro before. He's like, let's go. Gave me pointers there. I used them through my training. I use thegripauthority.com, his website. So, so it's his fault to be tied.
Right. Yeah, he shouldn't have been giving you the info, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, he's usually pretty helpful with tips and stuff like that. So going from the Euro, does that leave you guys with one event left then, or
two events?
Two
so
events,
we were done. We were done inside. So then it was nice. We were able to like.
Oh, sorry, we got the inch and Blob lift. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we got
Remember
hub next, so we did the hub outside, and
Okay.
so it's really nice. We had like a nice setup because like my place is like next to a pond and things, so it's like fun to like get out of the garage. We've been in here for like 3 events, so no, so we did the hub lift, which was, I feel like this was the biggest runaway victory like for Chaz, because I mean maybe he like technically only beat me by 5 pounds, but it was a very smooth 5 pounds. Like he did his like winning lift like it's super smooth.
How much?
I think
how much weight did he pull?
like 70. I did
70.
65 for second, and then there was a pretty big tie at 60 pounds, which was another one where you got like the people hitting 60 that you needed to like take points from Jed. Like
Yeah.
I feel like you got the spacers when you needed them, but that's like important. That's how you win. Yeah, but no, so it was cool. And like 60 is a super aesthetic lift because we had like it was with 6 2.5s like all the way around the hub. So a lot of people got to lift that. So that was like fun that they all got to do that one. By the time it gets to 65, there's like 10s on there. It's like less aesthetic. But it's still I was psyched that I got the 65. That was like maybe my best event. Getting second, that was my best.
Yeah. Well, it might have been part of the reason, like you said, you ended up on the podium. I mean, kind of keeping that close right there at the top.
That's true. I didn't run the math if I would have been in the big tie at 60, but it might have been the difference.
Yeah.
That guys, because that's a key part of the win. You got to know your best event, and you got to be ready to give up on that first or second a little bit, but take home that third or fourth. That's real smart, Alex.
Right.
Gotcha. Yeah, we have. Adam
What's
has
up,
kind
Adam?
of tuned in.
What's going on, Adam?
Boys, Chaz,
How you making out?
how y'all doing, man?
Adam, you got your camera on, or is it off intentionally?
My internet connection will turn to shit if I have to stream out here. I'm actually out in the pasture right now. I got a little goat that I don't know if he's gonna die or not tonight, but I'm trying to keep him alive, man.
Okay. Well,
When I move back to the patio, I'll be able to turn the camera on.
okay. Yeah. No worries, man. Like I said, do what you got to do, and then whatever, you can catch back up with us whenever you get that fixed up. But yeah. So with that on the hub, then
it was the true fairy circle, the inch blob combo lift, which is the main event, the co-main event. It was probably like Mash Monster Grippers and inch blob combo were the co-features. But this one, it was like super, super cool because we had like the blobs and inches all in a circle out in the yard. And then people like lifted in the middle. And so I think the points were written on them if people didn't fully understand the scoring system.
Alex, talk through how you devised your scoring system for that combo lift system.
Sorry, what was the question?
Would you talk through how you devised your scoring for the combo?
Yes. Yeah. So I was just trying to figure out how to give like a relatively equal significance to the inch and the blob without making the math like incredibly annoying for people trying to score their own lifts. So I think I was like, well, most of the big blobs are like about like a third of the big inch dumbbells. And so I multiplied them by 3, like the pounds, just to test it, multiplied the blobs by 3. And I was like, this is a pretty good system. But it like the legacy blobs, I feel like are kind of like skewed too high with that system. And like morally, I wanted like people to be picking like Fat Man or Next Gen, not just like picking legacies because like they would score more points and they're easier. Like I didn't want people to game the system that way. So that's the only math quirk. I made it so it was the multiplier was 2.75 for legacies under 130. I figured by the time you got to Blobzilla, you could get full credit again, the full 3-point multiplier. But and so then I tested it on like a few people's lifts who had like done it, and then like I looked at what scores they got, and I was like just mentally like, was that lift, would I consider that better than that? And I like it lined up pretty much every time. There was no like weird glitches in the system. So
Alex, I'm about that, buddy, is because thus far in 20 years of contest, no one has done a combo lift system like that with any kind of intelligent scoring other than perhaps like a golf system kind of thing, which can simplify, but I understood what you were going for. So I like what you tried. And to me, it stands out as it's a starting point for other people unless someone thinks they can figure out a better system. So I really appreciate that you went out there and you did that, because that's an example of something where when we look at people getting stale, they're not stale from contests, man. They're bored. And you're bringing something there that I think is really exciting personally. That is a great event to have, and it sets in motion. I mean, now when you look at, okay, dual hand scoring, oh my God, there's so many options. So I really applaud you for that, man. That was a bold move. I think it was the right move. I think that a lot of people are going to see this and get their wheels turning, man. So really well done.
Oh, no, thanks. I appreciate it, dude.
I was going to say,
I remember.
My bad, but
I remember when Alex was trying to come up with the scoring for it, he was like asking me, he's like, "Hey, what's the best that Chaz ever pulled in the Blob bench?" And I was like, "I think 200 and 140 or 135." He's like, "All right, what about Zach?" And we were like putting together, and then you sent me the spreadsheet. I was like, "Oh, what's that?" You're like, "I'm figuring something out." And then that was months ago. This is way back, probably. When was that? Like March or April, maybe? Probably even before that.
Yeah. It was a few months in the making on the thing, and Ben helped me also.
Yeah.
Like, I think you and Ben are people who I tested it on.
I think the final list turned out great. I mean, even the ones you've been keeping since the competition, just seeing where they're at. Yeah, there hasn't really been a lift where it's like, oh, that guy's 3 spots lower, but that lift was better than people above. It's like, I think it's pretty much scaled as accurate as it could be for now. I'm not going to say that maybe there's not an improvement down the line, but for right now, I see no flaw with it right now.
The only one where I feel my heart wishes that they were flipped was there was a full weight inch Fat Man Blob. They came in just under a full weight inch Holly 24 kilogram, because it was a heavy inch, it was like 176, and there was a heavy Holly like 54 pounds. But I feel like the Fat Man inch combo should have gotten more credence, like if they were close, but I had to go by the points. But otherwise, I mean, they're right next to each other in it, so anybody can just mentally slot it up one. Yeah. It's not like they were like 5 apart or anything.
So with that event, right? So Chaz, that would have gave you 3 event wins and 1 tie.
2 ties, 2 wins.
Okay, two ties, 2 wins, because the grippers. Was there really any way, like, let's say you just like bombed on the inch bell and blob, is there a chance that you could have gotten beaten, or as long as you pulled something relatively decent, you were safe?
I think I don't know. Al, do you have the score? I think I could.
I mean, I don't have the scores on me, but Jed won the event. Jed, pretty significantly, he won it. Even his contest pull is is one of the 4th highest scores that we have that we've been charting it, and then so Jed won it. There's there's a scenario where you get 6th, right? Because if Benny just pulls a more does a 180 inch and whatever 90 blob, so if he wasn't trying to do the 200, and if I would have, because we tied, if I could have found a few more pounds on the blob, that puts you in 6th. That's 5-point swing. I don't know exactly if that was enough, but it's enough to make it sweat.
Yeah. I think I came out to that and I missed my 70 haul lift. And I was like, oh man. So then I switched hands and then I missed the blob lift in my left hand. I'm like, come on, man. Am I going to zero out? I'm like, and that's going through my head. I was like, am I going to bomb out on this and then lose? So then I think the second time I went for the 64 and like a 90 or so, or maybe a legacy 100 just to get something on the board. And then eventually I did get the next gen and the 64, which got me.
Yeah, that's what I got. So we tied.
That's a solid lift, though. I mean, you're talking 140 something pound inch dumbbell with a 50-pound blob. I mean,
Yeah.
at the
It's
end
a
of a
very
5 event
solid
thing.
lift. I think that's a great lift.
Yeah.
No, 'cause
It was,
that was the one
yeah.
I did.
So
Yeah.
no, man, yeah, like I said, I
Yeah.
just love the idea of the competition. I like the fact that also, I mean, we didn't go down and maybe name every single person that attended, but you had a lot of very well-known grip people kind of in the house that made the trip.
Yeah, no, it was
I mean,
it was a great honor that they like all came out
You,
because everyone came a certain ways.
you know what you did? You had two of the three lightest people to ever clean the inch dumbbell over there, Jed and Ben.
Nice.
They're number two
We
and
just
three
need
on
to
the.
get other
Yeah.
Ben.
You also got Ben to compete in his first contest, which he's been around grip
Yeah.
since 2022. He came to nationals with Tim just to watch. He was trying to clean the inch there. Everyone's like, "Yeah, why don't you compete in King Kong? Whatever, do something." He never competed. That popped his cherry. Also, shout out to your boy Ty because I think he had the best moment of the day. Jed and me were watching him, and he's lifting the inch with his right hand and a 110 legacy left-handed. And he goes to lift, and he gets the 110 off the ground, and he misses the inch. So then he regrips with the inch hand while having the 110 legacy in the air the entire time he's like, it's seconds, which while you're doing that is like hours long. You know what I mean? And me and Jed are just watching, and he gets it. We're like, well, that's the best moment of the day. Like that's the,
Yeah,
and he has no
it's
idea. He's just like, yeah, I couldn't get this bell, but it's like, no, dude, you had that 53-pound blob glued to your
Yeah.
hand for 20 seconds while you're fumbling with this thing. So that was
no,
a
dude,
that was a
that's
really cool moment. I like that
yeah,
one.
that stuff like that's really cool to hear too, because if anybody has messed around long enough in the sport or doing the feet side of things like that, just the uneven pick heights you have, whether that's pinching 45s in the inch dumbbell, one's 2 foot off the ground, the other one's 3 inches off the ground, and even with blobs in the inch, sometimes it's just uneven, that lighter 53-pound blob is going to break first and you have to kind of, even it out with the dumbbell. But yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Like, okay, dude's, failing the inch dumbbell, but he has the blob up in the air, but instead of like resetting both, it's like, no, he's just doing a timed hold over here
Yeah,
while he's
yeah,
trying to, and
Yeah,
that's not an
no.
easy blob to lift anyway,
yeah.
So yeah,
And then he did
that's a
get
cool
the lift
moment.
too with the inch. He
Yeah.
did
So
all
Yeah,
get
no,
the
you nailed
like
it. No, it's great.
cherry on top.
yeah, no, that's a big lift if he just did it clean, but to do it like that, yeah, it probably
Yeah,
ups the
and he has no
difficulty,
idea.
Yeah. So Ty, like, he's not doesn't really like do grip sport. He's still like out in his prime, strongman prime. He's very good at strongman. He does like Arnold amateur and stuff. Like, so
Mhm.
he's like
But it's
nice.
good
So he's
that
an
you
excellent
had,
strongman.
but I say it's good that you have like kind of like, I guess, some of like the OGs from the grip scene around, but then you also have like just big ass strongmen and stuff like that. Different people kind of crossing over as well at your place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, we had a great crowd. That was it was super lucky. Like, and it was like the perfect mix of people. Like, I think everyone had an amazing time. And then we haven't even talked about like Steve Weiner came out from Long Island, Nate Rouse
Yeah.
came up from Jersey. Like, so we had all the legends in the house too. Even like just hanging out with us and giving us their wisdom.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, have them with-
I know you've hosted some other competitions, but like this being like the first like meet that was based around feats of strength type stuff. But I feel like you always have good turnouts for your competitions. The last couple of years, I feel like you've been putting on steady competitions with household names, new up and comers, and it seems to be kind of a
Right.
consistent thing now. Whereas maybe a year or two ago, it was like, okay, he's hosting some stuff, but like now it seems like things have really stuck. I mean, is this something you're planning on just keeping the momentum going, making it bigger and better each year?
Yeah, no, I'd like to do it every year. So it was 2 years ago. I hosted sort of like a satellite skillet hands contest. So I didn't pick the events for it, but no, we had like all the guys came up, like Chaz, Tim, so Steve Weiner came out for that one too. And that one was when John Mauser and Hannah were able to make the trip from West Virginia. They weren't able to come this time, so there was a wedding. I was really cheering that the people would elope so they could make it. But hopefully next year they'll come because they're super fun to have in any contest. And then so I did that 2 years ago. So last September, we had a kid last September, so I couldn't host anything. But then so hopefully like every September I can do like something at the house. And then, yeah, no, I think we've had great turnouts both times. I feel like the 2 years ago, and that was like the coolest like environment like for a contest. We had like a great group, and then I'm like, oh, this time we had like the perfect group too. Like I couldn't even pick. Yeah. So.
Well, I think another thing that maybe not all listeners are aware of, if they follow you, they are, but like I feel like you mentioned with kind of like the outdoor option, you have like the indoor gym, you have the outdoor option, the lake is there. But you also have like one of the greatest collections of weightlifting stuff in general to mess with. I mean, you just have so many different things to try, historical pieces all around. I mean, from what I've been told, I haven't seen everything. I've seen a lot of your videos, but I mean, it's almost like you have like a weightlifting museum, but then you have like an indoor and outdoor venue, and then it's attracting some serious competitors, and you're putting on awesome competition. So,
right. Oh no, thanks. Yeah. So I plan to. So I'm not like I promote like because I want to like have the guys over and everything. I'm not like some sort of like nerd contest promoter. I'm not like, oh, I like this is my dream to promote, but I like hosting. I consider it more like a host. When everybody comes over, like I'm not like promoting a contest. I'm like hosting the homies.
Okay, so I don't want to jump too far ahead on you here because you might not have any of this planned or anything. Any idea? Because I mean, you're big into steel bending. You have a good presence over there. You're hosting a lot of stuff for people steel bending. Where that's getting tracked and things like that now, where maybe that had kind of fallen off or maybe wasn't, I guess being tracked in the fashion that you're doing it in. What's the next thing you're going to be kind of involved in? Will it be like grip competition? You got other steel bending stuff going on. What's kind of the next thing you're kind of in charge of?
Yeah. So next thing, we got a huge steel bending contest in January worldwide. It'll be online. So we have all the top guys in the world doing it. King of cold rolled steel too. So all the bends will be cold rolled steel, and they'll vary. So basically, the easier the bar, like a Baster bar, like the shorter you're gonna have to bend it. You're gonna have to bend it like 4.5 inches, and it'll be like all the way through like the King of all Bastards, which is like 3/8 by 7 inch. So that one you can bend it full length. So no, we have all the top guys. I got a confirmation from all the Russian guys today, so they're in. The Jan's got his German crew competing. So we got some new Americans because I ran the contest for the newer benders. People who they all just came off like summer getting a ton of contest experience, so they're going to be like battle hardened going into this. So it's going to be a huge contest. I'm super pumped for it. As far as like, I'll probably host another grip contest just like next September. Like, okay, it'll probably be hard for me to like do more than one a year, but no, it'll be great. And I call it like invitational because like I think some of the fun, like some people want their contest to be like huge, but I just want it to be like the right size. So like there's enough people that like people can like hang out with people they're not always with, but also like you still get to like lift a lot. Like, we did everything last man standing. Everybody got to take a ton of lifts. So I think keeping the number like reasonable is important for the venue.
Yeah. And then Chaz, for you, you've been active because you just did that competition, and then you just did the Snacktown Squeeze Fest, which I think was that in Pennsylvania still, right?
Yeah, that was Hanover, Pennsylvania.
Okay, so you just
so
did
Hanover,
that.
Pennsylvania. Yeah, that's where like Utz and a bunch of other like potato chip companies are from. So its nickname is Snacktown. That's where that name for the contest comes from.
Gotcha. And then you're getting ready to host a King Kong venue with Tim Butler, correct?
Yep.
So is that kind of what's up next for you?
Yeah. Me and Tim, Savage City Strength, October 26th, the last Saturday. So that should be fun. We got some good people confirmed. Getting Ben to a second contest. So I think Vinny's going to come down too. So should be a good time.
And then in regards to, I guess, the Feet Meet Invitational or anything else, like I said, I wanted to cover what you guys are getting ready to move into next. Any kind of like extra things to add about the competition or any like closing statements, kind of, I guess, just to wrap up the recap there? We covered a lot.
I think we hit all the big points. So I think that was the perfect.
It was nice to have a good like so far almost every contest I have has been super fun, but this one was just different. You had the Blob Inch thing was we all love doing that after we train. You know, we hit our whatever we're doing for the day for training, and then, you know, if we're doing the Iron Mind block or the Crusher, getting ready for kick on, it's like, all right, I'm done that. We go pull some Blob and Inch pulls. To have that in a contest, and now like Alex is tracking that, that's super cool.
Yeah.
To get to use the actual Mash Monster grippers in the contest, like that was, you know, that's obviously fun. The Mash Monster one's the best gripper I've ever had in my hands. It's smooth.
Well,
it's just a great, you know, thing to close.
And that's the thing is, I don't know if we necessarily mentioned that portion of it, but Alex, when the grip board kind of changed ownership and they kind of, you know, retired out the Mash Monster grippers, you won the original set, correct?
Yeah. So actually, it's good that Chaz is doing the podcast with me. So me and Chaz, so we won it together because it was done in lots. So like Match Monster 1 was a lot, Match Monster 2 was a lot with like the backups that you would get with it. So we just did a bid for like all 10 lots. And then our deal, like I was going to keep the original 10 and he'd get the backups, which there's like 7 of them had backups.
Yeah.
And no, it's just, how did it even come together? Chaz was like, yo, how much money do you think it's going to cost to like win these? And so like I said an amount, and then we were like, and then he was like, well, I'll do this amount if you'll do that amount.
Yeah. Well, man, grippers are just a big hot topic for, I mean, the grip board, like, grip people in general.
He had an amount in mind that he was going to bid for like in various lots. And I was like, well, if you subtract that from what I think will win all of them, I think we can just go for it. Why not?
I thought they were going to go for so much. I mean, they went for a lot, don't get me wrong. But I was like, maybe I'll just go for, because there was another lot that was 1, 2, 3 backup, right? Because there was 3 of each of those. So that was its own lot. And I was like, maybe I'll just go for that. And then I was talking to you and you were like, I'm going to go for all of them. I was like, you want to split them and I'll throw some money in there? And like, yeah, why not? So, and then I still can't believe we won that. That's insane.
Right. So, and just to clarify, so for the Mash Monster ladder, which has been mentioned for, you know, on the show before in reference to Grip Board running their certification for that, you have the original set, right, Alex? That's the one that everybody that on the Grip Board lists. That was the grippers they were certifying on when they did it. And
yeah, exactly. The same one. Chaz got through 2 of them. Like Paul Knight got through 7 of them.
I think Adam got through 5.
I was going to say, I'm sure Adam's
that
done
is
some
an
of them. Yeah.
Absolutely iconic set to have. I am so happy that set. Okay, there's 2 ways this could have went, man. Scenario 1 is the set just goes to somebody where it goes in a garage somewhere and it never gets touched again. The fact that it went to you guys that are actively promoting, I just absolutely tickled pink. I mean, it's like you look at those grippers and it's no kidding. Over the last 20 years, the best guys that have ever been involved in the sport have touched at least one of them, probably a bunch of them. I love it. That is wonderful news to me. This is the first time I've heard it.
We used to watch the closes all the time, and I remember we would like quote them at the gym. Me and my buddy Wayne, we got on the grip board in like 05, and Shane Larson was closing like the grippers. And it was like him and his brother and I think his girlfriend or something. And Adam, I don't know if you'll remember this or not because it's kind of obscure. His brother would be like, "Yeah, Biggie, close it, Biggie," and he'd like close like smashing the MM5 and stuff. And Dave Morton was making his run through them. And they were like, "Dave, what are you doing for your training? What are you doing for your training?" He's like, I just squeeze grippers and eat ice cream." And then everyone's like, "What kind of ice cream are you eating? What are you, is it Hagen?" And it's like, so it was always fun. Like, you know, we watch those, quote them and stuff like that. But yeah.
Yeah, I just figured I'd point that out that like that's the original set. And yeah, it's cool that it was used in a competition and is still there and, you know, in the right hands, I guess. So with all that stuff being mentioned, I think adding all the context to everything, you guys feel pretty good with that as far as wrapping up the competition side of everything, right? Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I said, if anybody has anything to add, just add anything in if you want. If not, then I can go ahead and, like I said, we can just wrap that up. And like I said, look forward to whatever you guys are competing or hosting next. And like you said, Alex, it'll be probably some more steel bending stuff for you coming up. Chaz, you got the King Kong thing that you'll be working with Tim on. So, yeah, it's just good. Like I said, just trying to keep people informed, trying to keep people, up to date with what's going on or, stuff like that. So, yeah, man, if you guys don't have anything to add, we can go ahead and kind of wrap that up for that portion of it. And,
Perfect.
yeah, awesome. Well, like I said, thanks for taking the time, man. And,
thanks for having me. My crypto debut.
yeah, it probably won't be the last time. We'll probably see you again.
Do it again.
But yeah, thanks, man. For real.
All right, bye, guys.